Greetings, Facebook Live. How y'all doing? We about to get it popping up in here for True Love Movement Tuesday. Y'all come on through. We're going to have some very, very special guests today as we discuss Black women manifesting their dreams and why we must support Black women manifesting. Womanifesting their dreams. Rashek, you need to write.
Do I need to write?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I see you bought the video camera as well.
What?
Oh, did you bring the video camera?
I know last time we went straight through, but what's y'all actual format?
5 is a break.
Huh?
5. We're gonna do a break. We may or may not do it. You want to do a
We
break?
can do a little break at
So
5.
I'm just asking because I'm back, so
Right on.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
we've
need
been
to know
doing.
what y'all.
yeah, just
That's
a,
what we've been
So
doing.
what? A break
a
at
break at 5.
at 5?
Yeah.
And that's
Okay,
it.
so one break.
One break.
At the at the all right.
At halftime.
Halftime.
Call Mike Brander today. We're available 24/7. 345 1111.
Let's see what happens.
Use has more than doubled in the
Let me
past
see.
decade.
It's been so long.
9 in 10 people who
Me?
use heroin
Yeah.
also use at least one other drug.
Okay, just because I can't listen to it right now, what's the difference between y'all intro that's like 32 seconds and the music
Are not alone.
that's like 3 minutes?
I'm not even sure what that intro for 32 did. DC Paul do that?
No, you know, we had an old intro that got lost when the hard drive crashed. And so what has been happening is playing the song, not and maybe 20 minutes in, fade it out, and we just
20 seconds.
20 seconds in. Yeah,
But
we
it's
just,
supposed to be the hook of the song. And it always ends up being whatever, random. So it don't really
because we can roll with whatever it is.
Yeah.
They got something that's labeled your intro, so
All right,
Right?
let's
Yeah,
roll with
let's
that.
see what happens.
Let's see what that is.
All right, good. We're gonna you can out.
Family owned and operated since 1964, Estelle J. Wilson Funeral Home has served the New Orleans community for over 55 years. They offer a variety of funeral services such as traditional
Came right in here and even asked if she was going to cue me or anything more. I guess it's okay.
all tailored to meet your emotional
All right,
needs.
now.
Located in the heart of the market.
You want me to stay in here?
Yeah, you can say it. Yep. Just be a part.
Provide support to customers in their
Get
time.
it together, y'all.
Consider
You know,
Estelle
True Love Movement, we never have guests, Brother Shay. I mean, I
So
don't want to
much.
say
I
never.
was about to
but
say not so much. but
I can't tell you the last time we had a guest.
We haven't really had any on True Love Movement Tuesdays, that's
President
for
and
sure.
Funeral Director at 504-895-4903. That's www.esteljwilsonfuneralhome.com. Because you
Jazz.
always deserve someone who cares.
How do we?
Yo, this is Pastor Everett. We up there.
Are you able to turn down the speakers in here?
3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We live in the studio on Talk J
Little bit
Radio
more?
Show as we tackle some of the tough issues in our community as it relates to church, as it relates to hip hop, as it relates to sports. We're trying to bridge the gap of entrepreneurship, involvement, conflict resolution. And you got to tune in every
Yeah.
Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's Talk J Radio Show, WBOK 1230 a.m.
Yeah, that's it.
That's-
That's it. Because this is what we had, right?
Okay,
WBOK, New Orleans.
got it. Okay, it's cool. Yeah, it ain't no thing.
Quick Queen, if you need to. Oh, she got it.
Yeah.
Can't hear nothing now.
You can turn them on. All right. Good evening and welcome to the True Love Movement Tuesdays. This is Brother Shaq
And Mama Fire.
here on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Real Talk for Real Times here in New Orleans. Mama Fire, what's happening?
Man, it's a beautiful day, Brother Shaq.
Yeah.
We're getting closer and closer to the weekend, and it feels great to me.
Right
and I feel great. Good weather and good vibes.
Mighty-
How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a mighty big weekend coming up. Baby.
Yes. Our first Womanifest weekend.
That's right, man.
It's feeling right.
Yeah, I'm
It's
looking
feeling real
forward
right.
to it, Mama Fire. A whole lot's been going into that family. This is the 10th
Woo.
Womanifest. And this time it is, in fact, the entire weekend. And so we want to shout out our Facebook Live family for joining us. Simply like the True Love Movement page on Facebook, and you can catch us live here in the studio. And you're going to want to do that because we got a studio full this time, family.
Yes, we
A
do.
lot of special surprise guests. As Mama Fire was saying before we went live on the air today, that we haven't really had any guests on the True Love Movement Tuesday segment. So this is a treat, and these are our first guests on True Love Movement Tuesday. So what a great way to break that in, Mama Fire.
Ladies first, you heard me?
Yes, right, man, right on.
Yes. Y'all remember that song though?
Yeah, that's Queen Latifah, Moni Love. Who else was a part of that?
Yeah, I don't know, Yo-Yo? I think.
Yo, that was back
Yeah.
in before many of our listeners' times.
And that song still roll. It's still
Right.
roll. It's on my playlist.
That's right.
I believe in that. You know, I believe in not that I believe, I know.
That's
I
right.
know it's important for the upliftment and encouragement of Black women.
Definitely.
It's a powerful thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's a great way to get into something really, really important around surrounding Womanifest, Mama Fire, you know. And as our folks are joining us on the Facebook Live as well as on the World Wide Web, www.wbok1230am.com, and the WBOK 1230am app available on Google Play and in the App Store. It's, you know, on your ride home from work or for school or your commute, or if you're in traffic, wherever you are, we are grateful for you joining us. There's so many things you could be doing, but we're honored that you've chosen to ride with us. And so I wanted to say, Mama Fire, with regards to Womanifest, there's still some confusion even after 10 Womanifest. There's still some confusion by, you know, some well-intended folk about who Womanifest is for and who Womanifest is not for.
Yeah.
And I understand that this is not really necessarily deliberate, and it doesn't come from a mean-spirited place, but it does give us an opportunity to address something that isn't as frequently talked about, but we think that needs some clearing up. And that is the fact that when you hear something, as you just said, about, you know, Black women and Black women-centered and things that are focusing on uplifting Black women. Shout out to brother Akil joining us, Akil Alameen.
What's happening? Brothers
Brothers
showing up.
Brothers showing up first. Look at that. You know, when there's woman in something, or if it leads with woman, or the title is about woman, there's this thought that it's just for women. It's like only women, and
Right.
And even though that's not expressly stated, or nor is it implied.
Never.
And then when it gets a little deeper, and you're talking about Black women, you know, or Black woman centered, then there's this perception of anti-Black man.
Always.
You know,
it's sad.
and-
We shifting that. We shifting that with Womanifest and have been for
Have
the
been.
last 10.
That's what I'm saying. And even though we've been diligent about doing that, you know, intentionally surrounding the times of Womanifest annually, of course, all of our work is in that regard. But it speaks to something larger that we talked about a few shows back, and even, you know, we've discussed off the air, that many times when you say something, or when we say something, people hear whatever they've been conditioned to hear, not so much what you said. So they'll respond to what they heard, which is not necessarily what is being said. So I thought this was a great opportunity to kind of clear up who Womanifest is for, and why that's important, Mama Five. But I would love for you to lead us in that,
Yes.
just so you can give a little history and background on how it came to be, why it's necessary, and who it's for.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's necessary. The concept centers around Black women manifesting their dreams. And the truth of the matter is, it's a celebration. It's a festival dedicated to the celebration of Black women.
Right on.
And so everyone can do that.
Yes.
Everyone can celebrate Black women. Black women especially need to celebrate Black women, but Black men, Black children,
Yeah.
even white folks, they could come through
That's
and
right.
celebrate Black women, and they could buy from Black women, and they could learn from Black women, and they could uplift and encourage Black women.
That's right.
That's what this festival is for. It always has been intentfully so since the first one in 2013.
That's right.
And so we're here in 2019, 6 years later. It's become an annual festival.
That's right.
And always very well done, very organized, and centering around the Black woman.
That's right.
And that's a beautiful thing, and that's okay. It's so much better than okay. It's wonderful. It's such a beautiful, wonderful thing to do. And so that's what Womanifest is, and that's what Womanifest has been. And if you've never been to a Womanifest, man, you need it. I'm telling you, you need it. There are so many people that call it something different. They call it Womanifest.
Womanifest. Or the Womanfest.
The Womanfest or Womanifest.
Right,
Something
right.
so weird. It's a Womanifest. It's
Right.
women, Black women especially, Black women manifesting their dreams.
That's right.
Womanifest. And it's a beautiful idea and a beautiful concept. And it has turned into something really live
Right
and
on.
real and alive,
Yes.
and something people look forward to. You know, when it's the end of the year, people are like, when the next Womanifest?
That's right.
You know, and it's been different, different parts of the year. It's been at different places every year because we haven't really found our home just yet.
Right.
But we're trying everywhere, you know, and so
Definitely.
it's gonna be so many different places for the weekend.
Mhm.
We gonna get it in this weekend.
And so I hear you said, you started it by saying, you know, that it was a celebration.
Celebration.
And I would ask, you know, for our listeners and our viewers to just really think about how many places and spaces that you are frequent with that celebrate Black women. To think about how many, because there would seem to be some deficit or some absence of that. Fire, would you say that's the case?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that we have to do it for ourselves, what we've seen.
Right.
We have to do it for ourselves. I'm not about saying, you know, that you don't celebrate Black women, you don't celebrate
Right.
Black women. I'm just saying there was a need for it.
Definitely.
There was a need for us to all come together to show the power. You know, Black women take my breath away on a
Right
regular
on.
basis. I'm just like, wow, she's so amazing. She's so beautiful. She's so brilliant. She's so smart. She's so talented. She's so pretty and gorgeous. And she's so, you know, fill in the blank.
Right.
And so it's just an effort to put all of my sisters together in a space so that everyone can see
Right.
how these Black women are, how they are, period, but then how they manifest their dreams.
And we're spending some very intentional time doing it. I think that's the other part that makes this, you know, as the young folk would say, a thing.
Yeah.
That we're actually spending time doing that. And so that moves me to the next point of this, the point of contention, Mama Fire, or maybe tension is even better to say, that there's some knee-jerk response that says, but what about the Black man? What about Black men? I remember some Womanifest back, it might have been 4 or 5 or something like that. I actually had a workshop titled, What About the Black Man?
You sure did.
Because we heard it so much, you know, not, you know, and I think people really weren't even meaning harm. They were just, it's like, wait, Black women? What you mean this is just about Black women? What about the Black man? And you know what the Black man has been through? And, you know, it becomes the oppression Olympics, as Ron Chisholm would say. But I understand that. I think we understand that just because of the pain and the suffering that our people and the injustice that the collective of Black people have faced. It, you know, when it makes us almost competitive when we come to lifting up one another. Like, well, you can't get lifted up without me getting lifted up. Now hold on a minute, kind of thing.
And the thing about it is, when you lift up the black woman,
Absolutely.
the black man automatically lifts up.
Absolutely.
And the same thing is for the black men that stop you, Brother Shaq, and say, well, when's the manifest?
Yeah, I remember
nothing
that,
for,
man.
y'all ain't got nothing for black
I
men. What you
remember that.
mean? We got so many products and so many beautiful things for black men on
Correct.
a regular basis. But it's okay. That's
Right.
what I said. It's okay to celebrate the black woman.
Right.
Because you're also celebrating, and we don't like to do this, but you're also celebrating your mama.
That's right.
Celebrating your daughter, celebrating your sister.
From whence we came.
And so,
From whence we all came.
celebrating your wives and your girlfriends, and celebrate. That's what it's okay for. And so we automatically celebrate the black man.
Right on.
We do it all the time. We talk about our brothers, and we encourage our brothers to be leaders and to stand up and do things. And when they do, we get excited for them, and we, and I think this is just a moment. It's just some time to celebrate, and it's very intentional, and it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
And it also gives us an opportunity to deal with something that isn't often discussed. It's the idea that, because we have tried to assimilate and mimic into the dominant white culture, many of our people are operating off this notion that black men and black women are opposite sexes, that they're opposing.
Yeah.
And that produces this presumptive adversarial relationship, which lines up with capitalism and competition. And so what this highlights is how we segregate ourselves and think that black men and black women can't be in the same space and lift up black women at the same time. That
Right.
there's some competition for the spotlight, which just points to a deficit, which is a normal human response to the multi-generational dehumanization and oppression that we have continued to feel. So I get that, but it's important that we at least say it what it is and call it what it is, so that we can be free to celebrate and lift up our sisters with pride, and for the black men to understand the necessity of his presence in this process.
Yes. And if it makes you uncomfortable, acknowledge that.
Right on.
Acknowledge it makes you uncomfortable, and really dig into that with yourself. Get some help if you need to,
Right.
But if it makes you feel like, man, I ain't going to that because ain't nothing but black women gonna be there.
Right.
It's
Right.
like-
Well, what's that about? Why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. And let me say this, that Womanifest would not be as powerful as it is without the help of my sisters.
That's right.
And so today we're going to honor all of my sisters that could make it today on True Love Movement Tuesdays to talk about themselves and talk about their contribution to Womanifest 10, the
Right
weekend.
on.
And so we have my sister already in the building. She is going to stay with us for the whole 2 hours,
Uh-huh.
if she can.
Right.
I don't want to take all her evening, but she's here as a big part, a part of Womanifest, a big part of organizing Womanifest, and I'm so thankful and proud that she's here. We have Amani Black Pearl, who is here. I can move it.
No, it's fine. We turning up the speakers inside. We fine.
Okay, yeah, we have Amani Black Pearl, who is here, and I want to say thank you for being here, my sister.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Good. And so I see your shirt says Well-Fed Artist.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Well-Fed Artist is my line, and when I realized that I could support myself with my naturally given talents, which is art, I was like, why aren't more people saying this? When I thought of the phrase well-fed artist, I was like, okay, I can't tell nobody because they're going to steal it, because I just didn't understand how the idea of being a well-fed artist wasn't already something that we say,
Yeah.
you know, as full. Even well-fed artists are out there saying the phrase starving artists
They
more.
really are,
Yeah,
Right.
more frequently and stuff like that. And so when I realized I was also in a community of other well-fed artists, I was like, yeah, we gotta
Love it.
yeah, like, you know, what's the affirm that that's what we are, because I don't have money all the time,
Yeah.
but you know, it's an affirmation as well as a proclamation. So.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so tell me about why it's important to have manifest, this idea of manifestation or creating something from nothing, like that old that Negro adage, making $1 out of 15 cents, or making something of nothing, or making a a mountain out of a molehill. Whatever you want to look at, it is about creating something that maybe was small before or maybe really didn't exist.
Right.
What do you think about Black women manifesting?
I think that is something that we naturally do.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, done that. More so than just creating beautiful accessories and wearable art out of what was somebody else's trash, something they ripped out of a wall. Copper is so powerful, and it took an artist to see that, once it's ripped out of the wall, it still has so much purpose. It can be made into something else. And I've always been that kind of person where nothing could be trash around me. When I was a child, my parents probably were so annoyed, like, throw the cereal box away. And I'm like, no, this could be like a cat house, like, just hold on a second. And I've also been in positions where I had to feed myself for a week. I literally fed myself for a week off of where I bought $9 in groceries and coins that I found in my home when I was a young adult. And my mom had just passed away. I didn't have no sugar daddy or my real father's not rich, or anyone who was giving me handouts, nor have I ever wanted that, and nor have I ever needed it. That's what we do. I think that we have to shed light on that, because like when we say the phrases like Black girl magic and all that stuff, it's literally what we do. It didn't come from, it's not a new thing. Even when our people were just, no warning, you're getting snatched from your homeland to come to this new world, we immediately started problem solving. How can we make this as comfortable as possible? How can we avoid doing this? We revolted, we did all kind of stuff to make it so that we were able to survive no matter what we're stepping into, because we don't always know what we're stepping into. But the first law of the universe is self-preservation, right?
That's right.
And survival. And I feel like it's just a natural thing. And I don't know if it's in us because of our melanin richness plus our womb magic, or whatever. Whether we talk about it or celebrate it or not, it's there.
Yes, it
so
is.
I give thanks for
we
that.
We are
and,
the creators.
Absolutely. And whether we're using it or not, we have. And I think it's extremely vital to explain to the entire community, whatever color or gender people are, that we should be utilizing the powers that we have if we're not already.
Yes, that's right. And that we can, and that we celebrate it too, So Black Pearl, you have been so phenomenal for Womanifest 10 weekend. Tell me about your experience with Womanifest, and then, Womanifest in the past, but also like this weekend.
This one specifically?
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely different working. In the past I vended, so that was, kind of working, but my focus started that day and ended that day, whereas now I'm the vendor coordinator, and so it's like being on the inside. It feels I feel important, which I know I'm important.
Yes.
But I feel important and special because I have so much respect for what y'all do, and so much admiration for what y'all do, even down to the name True Love Movement. And after doing events, I've seen how much goes into doing an event, to continue doing it year after year, and then like letting it grow naturally, and like supporting it as it grows. So it's been great being on the inside of it. That's really all I could say. I feel like, I want to be a better vendor coordinator than I am now, but I need to, I guess, just be nice to myself and be like, you're doing it, and we'll just learn from anything that I feel like I could be doing better. But I'm really honored to be on y'all's team.
Good,
So,
yeah, I'm honored too, because you're good at it, like organizational skills. Not everybody has that talent, and
Right.
you naturally have the talent, and so I've seen you organize other events as well. So this is just like something you do,
Yeah,
and you're good at it.
It's another
yeah.
art, honestly, and the canvas
Yeah.
is, I don't know.
The community.
Yes.
Yeah.
The canvas is the community. Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So you're gonna stay with us if you don't mind, and just really add in your beauty and your wonderfulness. Let me before I move on, let me talk about this though. You are also performing.
Oh,
Yeah, let's not forget about that. You
That's
are also
exciting.
performing, because you're a performing artist as well. So we'll see you not only behind the scenes vendor coordinating,
Yeah.
which I have given you that whole thing and just put it on your lap. I'm not doing anything when it comes to vending, and I appreciate that because that takes a lot of my time. It has taken a lot of my time before. Then you'll be vending.
Yes, how can I forget all of that stuff? I think I'm just so excited about the new role.
Yes.
I'm vending and performing, which is two
vending and
things I'm
performing.
very familiar with.
That you have done this time. So you'll be vending Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Saturday you'll be performing with the troop or the gathering of beautiful, serious sisters for the Series of Serious Sisters hip hop show. And so I just want to thank you for being a part of everything.
Thank you so
because
much.
You add a level of brilliance, a level of creativity, a level of artistry to Womanifest. So thank you.
I'm glad.
All right, and so we're going to have Pearl here with us today. She's going to add whatever you want to add. Brother Shaq is definitely the cameraman today, because we are centering around Black women manifesting their dreams. We're centering around Womanifest Weekend, which is this weekend, Friday, May 24th, all the way to Sunday, May 26th. And we're going to be breaking down everything we'll do, especially on Friday. So Friday we're doing the Welcome to Womanifest Mixer, Power Hour, film screening, and community conversation. We're watching Silence is Compliance, which is a film by Dominique McClellan that I just so happen to have a small role in.
That's right.
And it's centering around like a heavy topic, the heavy topic of sexual abuse, and the use of power and the misuse of power, but it's toward Black women, but also Black men. It really gets heavy, that film. And so we were thinking we would need some child care for that. And I reached out to one of my beautiful sisters who is here with Arabella's Playhouse.
All right.
Sister, introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Etienne Honore.
Yes, we are so glad you're here. Tell us about Arabella's Playhouse.
So I strongly believe that when the parents party, so should the children.
Yeah, you
I know that's right.
When children are happy, mom is happy.
Yeah.
So I want to wear the kids out, let them have a whole lot of fun. It's play, but with the component of learning as well, which I'm extremely excited about.
Me too.
So they're gonna be happy.
Right on.
Yeah, they will. And listen, I want to say that I'm very, very proud of you, because I've seen you with children, and you're naturally just wonderful with children. And we need that in our community, not only for events that we're having, that may not be appropriate for children, and then mama won't come because she doesn't have anybody to watch her children, and so it adds a good component for events.
Yes.
But it adds a good component for our community in like the work. We think about what work you're gonna do during war. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like, we are at war. Just to be real, we have a real known enemy, and think about that. Like, what would you do? And I think taking care of children is like one of the most amazing roles to have during times of war.
Definitely.
And it's safety, and it's keeping children's mind peaceful, keeping them well during times of war. So what do you think about that, Etienne?
Once I came to terms that this is my true calling, it's very peaceful knowing that they have a safe place to go to bring their children. I know everyone doesn't have a strong support system. I know I don't. So a lot of things I do, my kids travel with me. Sometimes I don't go to places, and I don't mind it because that's my babies. Like, their safety is the most important thing to me. And making sure they're in a learning environment consistently, and not just sitting in front of a TV watching things that you have to kind of like analyze and like, I even want them watching this? What is this?
Yeah.
But keeping them active, keeping them learning, and it's simple things. Children, they always have questions. They know way more than we realize sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like you said, keeping them preoccupied and engaged. Is
Keeping
very
them well.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, and I've always, observed you with your children, and you're a really, really excellent mom. I think your children always are, the proof is in your children, and how wonderful they are, and how they're so loving and kind and brilliant. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being that mama. Not everybody has those skills. I was just telling Pearl, not everybody has. I wish every woman just naturally had those skills. But you, even though you go through things, we all do, it's just a natural, nurturing spirit that you have, not only with your children, but other children, just realizing their value and their worth. So tell me about Welcome to Womanifest. What kind of things will you be doing with the children while the parents are having this deep healing conversation?
So we're gonna have them playing. They're gonna have like a little bounce house with the little balls so they can play. We have coloring books. I want to plant like little seeds with them so they can take with them so they have something like and watch it grow over time. And I think that's the learning component of it. So they're probably gonna say, what is this? Is this a worm? Why is the worm there? So we're gonna talk about different little things and have their little minds engaged and keep them active. I think that's the most important thing, just being active with them. And then hopefully when they go home, they'll be so wore out. Like, well, she did. I want it again.
That's
I'm
right.
really good at that, wearing kids out. Sometimes I watch my friends' children. And she's like, I don't know what you did, but do it again. I'm like, no, I didn't give them no melatonin.
That natural melatonin.
The natural.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Okay, so you are providing this service for events. And so how do people get in touch with you? How do they know more about Arabella's Playhouse and just try to reach out to you?
So basically, this weekend is kind of like a soft opening for what's to come because I have a big vision for it.
Yeah.
So right now it's kind of like a coffee / cafe type of thing for the kids where they have a like a sit down environment, but then they can play a little bit as well. But eventually it's going to be something bigger and better. So we're going to progress as time goes along. But they can contact me via email as of now. Arabella's playhouse@gmail.com.
Okay, good. Spell that out for everybody if you don't mind.
So it's ARABELLAS Playhouse PLAYHOUSE @gmail.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for being a part of Womanifest.
Thank you for having me.
And so let's just ask, I'm asking every woman this. How is this helping you manifest your dreams? How is Womanifest and the soft opening of Arabella's Playhouse helping you manifest your dreams?
So I just recently came to terms with what my purpose was. I came from a large family. My family's from here, of course. My grandmother had 20 children, 20 single births. Her sister had 20 plus, all here in New Orleans. And just being around people all the time, I've always had my younger cousins look up to me and there's, Etienne can watch you, it's fine, you know? And it was natural, okay, it's cool. But I didn't realize that was my true calling. So once I came to terms with that, I started having big ideas and big visions and, oh wait, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. And I just, to be honest with you, I love wearing children out. I get joy out of it. Like when they are knocked out, I look. Yes. So
it is.
when I see them knocked out, I'm like, oh, I did my job. Oh my goodness, now I can go to sleep. But it definitely put me on a whole nother vibration, a whole nother level of the game. I didn't even realize that was even there. It was kind of tucked away and hidden. And I had to grab it, cry a little bit, and like, all right, I got this, you know?
That's right.
So yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pleasure to watch you evolve it yourself and manifest it yourself, you know? It's going to be a pleasure to see how many events reach out to Arabella's Playhouse and how it grows into what your real vision of it is. And so I'm going to watch. I'm going to be here the whole time just watching and cheering you on because it is needed.
Right.
It is so needed, a safe place for our babies to go. It's needed for a safe place for our babies to learn, but also it's needed just in general for people who have this skill to be looking out and nurturing and uplifting our children. When mamas maybe can't, you know, mamas are busy or mamas are working or mamas are at school, having somebody that we can trust who hold our babies up.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Y'all see y'all this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. See y'all Friday.
Yeah.
So Arabella's Playhouse will be at each event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, sharing because on Saturday we have the Serious Sisters series of Serious Sisters hip hop concert, and many of the mamas are many of the women who are performing are mamas,
right.
and they need somebody to watch their children when they're on the stage rocking that mic. So you'll be there to support that process, but then on Sunday providing special activities for the children on Sunday, which is at Taylor Park. So thank you, Etienne of Arabella's Playhouse. Thank you, sister.
Thank you for
and thank you
having
for
me.
being here.
It's a
Yeah.
blessing.
on.
All right, Brother Shaq, what you think about that?
Man, I think that's out of sight.
Out of sight, out of
That's out of
sight.
sight.
I love celebrating my sisters, especially my little sisters, you know, who are just coming into their purpose and just making a decision like this is what they want to do and this is what they want to build on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would also like to, thank all of our folks who are joining us, via Facebook Live and of course on the air on 12:30 a.m. on your AM dial and on the WBOK 12:30 and app in Google Play and in the App Store.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shantice Denise is in there, Honey
Sister.
Desta Pierre. We got Sonny Patterson on there with us. Erin Greathouse. We got Honey Golden.
Oh, Sonny
We
Patterson,
got
we got to talk about
our-
that sister in a minute.
Our brother Dominique McClellan is also joined. We got Manny
Yes.
Irvin, Karen Green, Deborah Hampton, Crystal Muhammad, Lamont
We want to see y'all
Douglas,
this weekend.
Christy Saints, who that Zachary is in there, Cindy Mohammed, Lamont Douglas, and so many others that have joined. We wanted to acknowledge our folks. Daniel Kuiper, we got some fella by the name of Derek Molina, he's in there too.
Some fella.
Yeah, Blake
That's my big
Anthony's
boy.
in there.
My big young man.
Yeah,
Yes.
Roderick Brooks is also there. Of course, Akil Alamin and many others that are
Thank
joining
y'all.
us.
Thank y'all for joining in.
And sharing the show with people that they respect. And we would encourage everybody listening or watching, share this show and previous ones like this with folks that you respect, family. This is True Love Movement Tuesdays, May 21st, 2019, here on WBOK, Black Women Manifesting Their Dreams.
That's
Mama.
right, 12:30 a.m. And if you're interested in talking to any of the sisters in the building, you can call the Solution Line, 504-260-9265. Again, that number is 504-260-9265. And if you just want to shout out or you want to know more about what's going on with Womanifest Weekend this weekend,
That's right.
which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have something for everyone. And so we talked about Friday, which we're going to be just hanging together in a mixer. There'll be some music and some drinks and some food. And then we'll watch a short film.
That's right.
It's called Silence is Compliance by Dominique McClellan. He'll be there as well. We're going to watch that for 30 minutes, then we're going to talk about it. So we have a serious topic that we coined, Brother Shaq, hands off Black women and girls.
Mm-hmm.
And no, this is not just for Black women and girls to talk about hands off Black women and girls. This is for Black men to join in this conversation.
Right.
This is important for us to decide what are the solutions to this. And how can we change it right here in New Orleans, right there in that room? You know what kind of community healing conversations we have, Brother Shaq.
That's right,
You
for
know,
many years.
we have had several community conversations and they all end up well.
And we have them before something happens, not after something has happened. I want
Right.
to just bring that up because there's a trend of knee-jerk reactions and suddenly things hit the radar for just a few moments because they seem new, but they're just a new iteration of something that's ongoing. And we don't do it that way. We're not reactionary, Mama Fi. We're working on this long before something happens.
That's right, and it's important for us to do so. And then on Saturday, we're gonna start off the day at Tambar Life Center. Brother Shaq, you're doing the Resolving Rape Culture Workshop.
Yes, Resolving
Yeah.
Rape Culture Workshop on Saturday.
Yeah, and then simultaneously, starting at 11 o'clock, is the Birth Story Project, which is a Sister Midwife production, and she's having a Womanifest edition. We just naturally putting it together and collaborating with Sister Midwife Productions, as we always do, and that's from 11 to 3. I'm the special guest speaker at 1 o'clock. So it's going to be a beautiful mashup of dynamic things happening in Tambar Life Center on Saturday during the day. And then Saturday night, oh man, I'm so excited. What? I'm so excited because, Brother Shaq, remember when I came up with the idea of
Yep.
Serious Sisters? I just had seen so many sisters in the area, and I said, man, I want to bring them together to display their gifts and talents. Man, that was maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I just didn't have the right space, the right head space. I didn't have the, and so when we decided to do Womanifest Weekend, I said, this is the perfect time.
Perfect
And I'm
time.
starting off with hip hop, my favorite. And so we have Phoenix Ali in the building. She is here.
Yeah.
Ah, I'm so excited. How long has it been since I talked to you about this?
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I'm so happy when you first mentioned it. I was like, okay, held on to that little seed, and then to see it, you know, we're on the weekend is right here, so I'm excited. I'm super excited about it.
Tell us about yourself, Phoenix.
Yeah, so I'm Phoenix Ali, originally from Atlanta. Just recently moved here from Houston. But New Orleans is like a huge part of my heart. I actually went to college here.
Okay.
So my first step towards manifesting my dreams really was watered in the city of New Orleans.
Okay.
When I dared being terrified and everything to move from home and to come here and to pursue my dream, which is to be an artist. And somewhere along that journey, kind of veering off and doing other things.
Yeah.
And as the creator would have it, 13 years later, I'm back in the city of New Orleans with an opportunity to really kind of go for it. And so this is my Womanifest moment,
I love it.
And
yes.
so it's full circle. It's absolutely beautiful, and I recognize that, you know, the divine has his hand in me being in this place.
That's right.
So,
I'm
yeah.
so glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
My idea about the series of Serious Sisters is that it wouldn't just be one. It would be a series of the celebration of serious sisters. And I know I spelled serious kind of different. It's because this sister is out of this world. Like she is a star, right? Like the Sirius constellation. She's a star, and she's also serious. So tell me about the seriousness of the work that you do.
Right. So I have a company called Herbal Vibe. It's Urban Holistic Vibration. What I consider a lifestyling company. In our earlier phases, we were a beauty and health company, beauty and lifestyling company, where we focus on offering beautification services for women. But as I went through my own personal journey and just trying to reach optimum health and well-being, healing from childhood trauma, and really going on my own personal journey towards really discovering who I was as a person, that vision kind of shifted. And so now we call ourselves a lifestyling company. And ultimately, at the root of that for me now in this place that I am is to really represent what I believe to be the power of creativity in our healing. And especially for us as women, servicing women. We are creatresses, right?
Yes, we are.
That's who we are. And so it's vital to our health and well-being that we be engaged in some form of way in creative energy and creative activity. We've kind of lost sight of that. I mean, we look at the culture in which we live in, the areas in which we were able to exercise our creativity. So much of that has been outsourced from basic things like doing your laundry or cleaning or cooking, right? This society has kind of moved us away from being connected to those basic creative activities. And so as we see health and well-being of women, especially Black women, on the decline, I truly believe that understanding the power of creativity and how it's directly connected to our spiritual and emotional well-being is an important tool in us getting back that balance that we need as women. And so that's my mission. It's a quote that says,
serious mission.
Yeah,
I love it.
And it was important for me. I had to realize, like I said, I took a veer, from my dream, and realizing that the more I veered off of that, the more I saw myself struggling physically, spiritually, and emotionally. For me, it was just important as I began to realign myself with what I truly enjoyed and what truly connected with me spiritually. I began to see that revitalization, that light come back into me. And so seeing other women kind of going through that same struggle. But there was a quote by a teacher by the name of Jose Arguelles that kind of really sparked this movement of creative behavior. And it said that until we experience the entire illumination of the planet, the best way to transmute negative energy into positive energy is through artistic production and creative behavior.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily always have to be in the form of physically doing something, but just the awareness that art is everywhere.
Yes,
and that the energy exists within us all. And if we do things with intention, knowing that it has a healing effect on us, and it can be really powerful. And so I strive to inject that energy into my music, into the work that I do with women, and just my life overall.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Why hip hop?
I worked with a company for years that, well, let me say this. I grew up in Atlanta, right? So, 90s Atlanta. Prior to coming into my teenage years in Atlanta, I grew up in a household where we listened to soul music. You could not turn my mama's radio, so it was no hip hop. But growing up in a kind of bustling Atlanta, I mean, Outkast,
Yes.
Goody Mob.
Yes.
Atlanta was kind of like at its prime of music, and so that was kind of Tupac kind of having an effect on the Atlanta culture as well. And so that was my first introduction to hip hop. And Southern hip hop has always been so soulful,
Yes.
so lyrically rich. And so for me, it just connected and resonated with me so deeply. And as I began to explore writing and those types of things, I was able to kind of find my voice through poetry, but daring to step in front of the microphone and to explore and to marry kind of like my love for soul music, my love for jazz with the beauty of the writing style that you can find in hip hop, the metaphors and the storytelling was something that was so powerful for me. So I kind of dub what I do as mystic soul hop because it's just interesting mix of my spirituality as well as my love for soul music, but also hip hop, which at essence, as my brother Enoch Muhammad would say, hip hop is truth without boundaries.
Yes, it is.
And so for me, that's why hip hop, I strive to represent truth without boundaries.
Yes, beautiful. So let me introduce, I don't know if you've ever met each other.
But I see you.
Got two serious sisters in the space. And so we have Black Pearl, who is also going to be a part of the Serious Sisters event, the hip hop concert on Saturday. And I would like to ask you, Pearl, that's something I didn't ask you, is why hip hop?
That's a great question. I was thinking of what I would answer that with while she was answering. I feel like hip hop is one of those things that found me because growing up, I wasn't really allowed to listen to rap because cuss words and calling women bees and talking about sex. I wasn't allowed to do really anything, quote, black growing up, so I wasn't exposed to hip hop in a way that it was okay and positive and that I could really identify with it until I was like almost a teenager. And I've been writing my whole life, poetry, or even at some point I had like a rhyme book when I was a preteen, but I was like, I can't tell anyone about this.
It started for me at that time too.
I'm a little dorky, good girl, got called a white girl. No one wants to hear me rap, Then I got comfortable in my 20s. When I was in college, I got comfortable with like performing poetry. And I performed my whole life, but I didn't start performing things I wrote and created until my early 20s. And then people started asking me, how come you don't put beats behind your raps? How come you don't put beats behind your raps? Like, well, because it's a poem, But
you was flowing with it, yes.
Too many people kept asking me that. And so I was like, maybe I'm actually rapping. This is the thing that I thought that no one was going to want to hear me do, So I stuck with poetry and things like that. But I've used hip-hop for like therapy, like even back when it was just a notebook.
Yeah.
Absolutely, thank you. Even when it was just a notebook, when it was just a rhyme book, it was like anything that made me feel anything at all. I didn't really have, I guess now I'm realizing I had healthier ways to deal with my feelings than I thought I did. I've always been a feeling type of person, but feelings was one of those things that was always uninspired in my home. You're mad, you get in trouble. You're sad, you get in trouble. You're too happy, you need to calm down. So I was like, okay, I'll talk to this notebook because the notebook don't, shame me for anything. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a refuge and, like you said, like a healing.
Yeah.
And then when I got brave enough to perform, like that, I got the confidence from people assuming I was already rapping. Well, if y'all think I'm rapping already, so just kidding, I was this whole time. And moving to New Orleans has done, oh my gosh, ridiculously amazing. I can't even think of the words to describe, how New Orleans has influenced and grown my art. And having the freedom to be a female rapper, I don't have to be a thug. I don't have to be rough. I don't have to have fought, or sold drugs or worse than happened to me. I was skin my knees, climbing trees. You know what I'm saying? Now I understand. I can rap about that if I want to.
Right, it's all yours. It's
Absolutely,
all yours.
and like you said, without limits, because I can rap about my feelings. I can rap about experiences, things that have nothing to do with me, that maybe your experience makes me feel something, or a growth I just went through. And it can be more on the rough side, but it can also be more on the feminine, soft, floral, even the feminine, militant, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Put all your feelings into the hip-hop. I haven't yet crossed one I can't put in hip-hop. I rapped about food. I rapped about going shopping for art supplies. Like,
yeah. It just, you know, being someone that is an artist, just an artist, period. Not just hip-hop, not just poetry, not just spoken word, even acting, even drawing and painting, even moving my body and dancing. It really, what we do, as I seen as Black women, is we break through all of those genres, and we just are, you know, just are Black women, and that's creative, and that's an artist, and that, you know, it's funny how we all started on the poetry thing, and I think poetry is safe, and poetry is what other people created, but hip hop is what we created.
Right.
It's a people, you know what I'm saying? It's our jazz of the time, you know, like we created hip hop, and I think it healed me as well, is that I can say the things in a way that helps bring out like a part of me that is subdued. You know, there's a part of me that's been subdued, that's been oppressed. You know, a part of me that says, shh, don't say that, and don't act like that. And nobody's really listening to you, girl. But it woke that up in me. What do you think about that, Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, like, it's Truth Without Boundaries, hip hop. It is our authentic culture. You know, it's birthed out of pain. It's birthed out of our struggle. It's birthed out of that oppression. I think it's so important for us as women to find our place in hip hop, because our story and journey as women in this society is perfectly juxtaposed with that. And so, for us as women to be able to express ourselves through hip hop, can just bring so much to the movement. And it's been such a rigid definition of what women in hip, what it looks like, right?
Tell me about it.
And so I think the time is so right for something like this, and for us to come to this place in our fullness, in our power, in our understanding more and more of who we are as the divine feminine, and to bring that to hip hop, to say, just like I can be a little rough, or just like I can be, you know, maybe show my little thug or whatever, you know, from Southwest Atlanta, you know. If whatever you want to bring to the table, we can surely bring the regality, we can bring the femininity, we can bring our Sojourner Truth, we can bring our Harriet Tubman, and we can bring, you know, our true femininity and all that it is to the table through hip hop. And I think it's time.
It is time.
It's so time.
It is time. And you know, you said divine femininity, but also sweetness. Sweetness to me is missing in my sisters. You know, the sisters who are up in Adam right now. We're talking about your Cardi B's. We're talking about the Nicki Minaj's, and I'm not mad at them sisters. They doing their thing, you know. But there's a level of sweetness that I know personally I add. Vulnerability. That says that, you know, I'm a woman, and I've experienced these things, but I can also like write it down and really spit it to a beat too. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like just in general, the world misses sweetness. The world is missing the imbalance of it, you know? And not that sweetness can't be sexy, or sweetness can't be, you know, fill in the blank, but I think it's needed. I think for the balance of it all. What say you?
I agree with that. I feel like in this imaginary war of the genders that we've created, that Brother Shaq spoke on earlier, it's a competition. And, you know, men and women alike have agreed to that. And I feel like the sweetness that the sweetness that we don't allow ourselves to exude comes from us fighting back in this imaginary war that we decided to believe in. And wow, I guess I never thought about that, because I like to use hip hop to express my roughness. You know, I'll sing the sweetness, but also sing rough. I use music to express those parts of myself, roughness, because that is the most muffled or oppressed part of myself, is the angst, the anger I was never allowed to express, and things like that. But I love the idea of using hip hop, or, you know, exuding your sweetness through hip hop. And I feel like once we're done fighting, and once we're done being angry, and once we allow ourselves to get out of the anger stage, of dealing with said white supremacy and patriarchy and things like that. Once we realize that we don't have to fight, because the war cannot be fought by itself. The only way it can continue to be fought is if we continue to fight it. And once we realize that we can just be us and find the joy that, you know, that we think we're fighting towards, you know, we can just claim it.
Yes.
And then I feel like all of our creations will change. I feel like all of our creations, even down to our children and our friendships as creations, our gardens, everything is gonna, you know, benefit from the sweetness once we allow it to really like come through, and once we realize that we are safe. We don't have to fight. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to clutch our purses and be angry and wait for the next opportunity to get bark, you know, our frustrations and things like that.
Yeah, I think, you know what I think? I think the gamut of feelings. I mean, like, being angry is okay. Being, you know, rough and being able to get violent if needs to is okay. But I think the sweetness is also okay. Yeah. That's the point. Like, the vulnerability too is also okay. And it's time to open that up for ourselves as well. All of it. And what I found too is that hip hop is a teaching tool. I think it has been from the beginning. And whether or not you realize it, if you turn on the radio right now and it's quote unquote mumble rap or trap rap or whatever, you still learning. There's something they're teaching you. Is it something you really want to know? Is it something you really want to learn? But I found a powerful vein of teaching. And I always say this, listen, if you don't like it, it's not for you. It ain't meant for you. But somebody's going to hear it. I know it because sisters tell me all the time, see that? Grown woman hip hop, girl, that's my song. Because they're a grown woman. And we are told and taught that hip hop is for young people.
Right.
How does that happen when hip hop was developed in the 60s and 70s? So how is it for young people? How is that true, for one? How is there an age limit on no other genre of art except for hip hop? Like, how does that happen? You know, like, these things aren't fair. So breaking through that as well. So I'm talking about two things. I'm talking about teaching through hip hop and also the boundaries, the so-called boundaries of modern day hip hop. What do you say about that?
Definitely teaching through hip hop. I mean, sound, force, and power is, music is that's what music is, right? And so when we understand the power of the spoken word, when we understand the power of vibration, and when those things meet, you know, doing it with intention is the thing. Like, we're learning. We're learning whether or not we are aware or not, right? As one of my teachers would say, energy follows awareness. So whether you're aware or not, the energy is affecting you. What you're listening to on the radio, it's affecting you. It's programming your subconscious mind. And so teaching through hip hop happens whether the frequency is high or whether the frequency is low.
Yeah.
But when we as consumers and creators begin to understand the power of what it is that we do, like, the responsibility of what it is that we do, then we can really be able to do with intention, like you said, and to really be mindful. Okay, what are the lessons that I'm trying to get across? Like, how do I want this to affect the environment that I'm speaking it into? What am I affirming to my listener and to myself?
Yes.
Because before it ever reaches that person, the creator, you have to embody that. And we all know that as artists, like, when you're writing a song and you have to perform it and you're memorizing it and you try to get into the energy of that, like, you become that message in order to be able to convey it properly. And so we're conditioning ourselves and conditioning society. And so many artists try to run away from that. I'm not a role model. I'm just doing what I love. No, you are modeling a role. And that's how we learn, from modeling. So many of us take on the characteristics of the artists that are out and that are being promoted because they're modeling a role, right? And we're trying to figure out, how do I do this human thing? How do I do this woman thing? How do I do this man thing? And you're looking at the models that are around, and so it's power in there. It's responsibility.
Yes. So
I think it's time, just like everything else, that we do it with intention, to say, okay, this is what we want to create. This is what we want to see in our communities. Yes. This is the type of women and children and men that I want to live next door to, right? So I'm going to create and speak that to life. It's important. And there are no boundaries. Because, in the beginning there was the word with the word,
Yes.
So, it's whatever you can speak, whatever you can think, that's what we can create, and that's the power of music. It's the power of hip hop. There's no age limit. I mean, on that,
Well,
right?
I mean, not for real, but
Not for
there
real.
is one that is perceived.
Right, and I think that goes to that's intrinsically connected to the message, right? Because the mainstream has an agenda. Like there's an agenda, there's a certain vibration or message there, and that speaks to not necessarily youth, but to the underdeveloped aspects of who we are as human beings, as God beings, right? So as long as I'm speaking on that level, then the masses of the people that are listening can stay underdeveloped. But when we begin to develop the message, right, and I'm speaking to the God in you, right? So
Come
the
on.
God in you responds to sweetness, right? You don't yell at God when you say your prayers. You ain't like, bless me. You're not doing that, right? You're like, creator. Yeah,
Yes,
humble, humility.
yeah.
That. And so when we inject that energy into the music, into the hip hop, it speaks to the God, the more developed part of ourselves. And so this world doesn't want that. They don't want you to speak to the developed part of the God of the human being. So of course, they put an age limit on it. Because typically
when you
as
start
we
waking
grow,
up.
typically as we grow and we develop as human beings, we are not inclined towards certain things, but all hip hop has to offer us is the message of the underdeveloped, right? So it kind of naturally puts a boundary there. And if you are older and you're listening to that, it kind of can stunt your growth because you can't feed off of that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, my sisters. We're going to come back, but because I'm glad, I want to hear, what my sisters have to say about hip hop and why it's important. So thank you, my sisters, for being here. We'll be back on the break, from the break in a minute. All right, True Love Movement Tuesdays. Still on Facebook Live. My sisters are in the building today. Yeah, I met that brother Shay, and he was like, I got a track for you. You know how that goes. Somebody just, they just feel like, I got something for you. And, it just ends up being very beautiful. So, yeah. So, sisters, Saturday.
Yeah, it's here. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's here. Are y'all excited?
I am excited.
Yeah. I think what's the most powerful thing about it? I don't know if this is gonna go down. Oh, we don't know what's going on.
We got a way to do this. There's a wire to plug. Oh, you got one of them.
What you talking about, Oscar?
Yeah. And plug directly into here.
Okay.
You come directly out of here and that is adjust the volume just like a headphone. Go straight out of here.
I got one for it, an adapter, but I'm gonna need an adapter and a splitter for the charger. But that ain't no problem.
We had one here. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Kendra might have it.
I was wondering, can we turn it down a little? I don't know. Are we getting ready to go to like a commercial?
We on commercial. What's happening? And we'll talk about it.
So this is what people are hearing on the radio right now? Or?
No, this is Facebook Live. Shout out to
Oh,
Peace
okay.
Johnson. Just said, love this discussion. You're speaking to my heart.
Yes.
Got Joseph Martin watching. We got Big Tank the drummer watching.
What's happening, Tank?
Shedrick Roy
That's our
watching.
drummer for
Roderick.
that's our drummer for our show on
Mama,
Saturday.
Sister Two Areas watching.
Yeah, and back in the day, my sister too, she did something called Street Songs, which was a collection of people, and we collaborate and we do all these things, and I think the collaboration is what makes it powerful. Like you can have a show, you can have an opening band, you can have a show and rock it out, but the sisters are all different. Every sister that are rocking them is very, very different. And so you're there for like a smorgasbord of talent and a smorgasbord of message and entertainment. Like, don't forget about that part. We teach, but it's also well done, good music. What you say? What you say, girl?
I feel like that's completely true, and I feel like this show is teaching me more of one of the lessons I've been learning, which is self-acceptance. And there's so many pieces that I'm like, oh, I couldn't perform that. I want to do something wholesome, or something more positive. And it's like, right. And sometimes I am wholesome, and sometimes I am positive. But, I write raps on a bad day, or I'll write raps when I'm like, I'm big with my sexual liberation movement.
Yes.
And it wasn't until sitting here, I'm like, I can do the Queen of Nasty at Series of Serious Sisters.
You can do what you need to do. Do what you
Absolutely.
want to do.
And what the reason that came to me is because you were talking about teaching when you guys were having the conversation about teaching through hip hop. And I didn't write that song to brag about my sexual talents. You know what I mean? That's so not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's more about it's my bold way of getting people's attention so that, oh my gosh, she just said this, and then so you're automatically listening, and then in the next line I'll feed you something that is like sexually responsible, sexually liberating, sexually uplifting. You know, it's not just about, oh, how nasty can I be, because everyone takes the sexual liberation movement to be that. And people are like, so what's sexual liberation mean to you? And I can tell they're like, sleep with whoever you want. That's what they expect to come out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh no, liberation is not using yourself. It is not self-abuse, it's not self-use. It has nothing to do with speaking to that lower vibratory end of yourself. It has everything to do with uplifting sex as the godly energy that it is. It's the creative energy that made all of us, you know? So by writing that song, Queen of Nasty, that was more my way of making a bold statement musically to go along with the sexual liberation movement that I've already like decided to clearly publicly, you know, embark on that journey publicly, and I love it. And I think that song is, it's a little bit raunchy if you're only listening to the raunchy parts, but it's certainly to teach. It's certainly to teach and uplift men and women, you know, in my own special way. And so, what was the original question?
No, that was an answer.
Yeah.
That was an answer. I think you were talking about self-acceptance.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
And I have so many pieces that I'm like, oh no, I wouldn't want to rap about weed, but it's like, but it's something that's a part of my life. It's something that's a part of so many people's lives. And once again, it's not a
Coming back from break, just letting you know.
All right, thank you. Thank you for sticking with us. Facebook Live, we are on here. We are getting it in about hip hop. Black women manifesting their dreams.
Mama Cheryl Salahoud and also John just now.
What's happening, Mama?
Shantice Denise says, sounds
What
powerful.
did they
Music
get?
is a powerful period.
Powerful too.
Yeah.
You want to come open up? All
Bring it on
right. We are back. True Love Movement Tuesdays, and we are talking about and really celebrating Black women manifesting their dreams. And I have two sisters here that will be performing at the series of Serious Sisters hip hop show that is happening on Saturday evening, starting at 5. I think the doors open at 5, and then the concert starts at 6 o'clock. We have DJ Slumflower, who is our DJ of the evening, and I'm so proud of her because she's been our DJ for Womanifest for many years, and this is her time to shine. When I decided I wanted to have like a concert or a show as part of Womanifest weekend, I was thinking, man, who would I want to have as the DJ to give her center stage? And I was like, DJ Slumflower, man, because she is, through the times of all the Womanifest, she had a baby. You know, and she would call me and we would talk about the situation, and I would just keep encouraging her to keep doing your art. Keep doing your art. Okay, keep doing your art because it heals us. You know, like I know at the worst times of my life, I wasn't doing anything creative. You know, at the worst times of my life, I wasn't journaling. I wasn't singing. That's how I know that I've hit depression. And I know depression is way over there. You know, it's not close anymore, thank goodness. But that when I look at all the times in my life when I was like severely depressed, I wasn't singing. You know, and I'm a singer all day, every day. My children, you know, they'll laugh at me. Like this morning, you know, I make up songs all the time and they'll laugh. And my son told me today, he said, Mama, I like your singing voice. I said, you like it now, huh? Because you're always laughing at me when I hit them high notes. But yeah, music is a powerful tool. And so we are here talking about the potential for this really, really great show on Saturday. But we also taking a deeper dive into hip-hop and into why hip-hop, into the teaching aspect of hip-hop. And so we left before the break listening to Phoenix Ali telling us about her brilliance and the reason why hip-hop is a teaching tool. And so we left off with you, Pearl, Black Pearl, talking about hip-hop as a teaching tool.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a writer, first and foremost. And writing can take so many forms. You know, you can write an article, you can write a rap. So, yeah, that's how I've used it as a tool of, like, with many purposes. And so, like, my song I was mentioning during the break, The Queen of Nasty, you know, I didn't just write The Queen of Nasty just because literally, like, that's how I'm feeling. You know, sometimes something just pours out of you. The Queen of Nasty I actually wrote with the purpose of sharing each and every idea that I shared in there, you know, as far as, like, sharing ideas of sexual liberation and sexual health, sexual responsibility to my community, mostly my age group, but anyone who can benefit from the words I've shared in there. And so that's, to me, a great example of a time that I'm like, okay, there's something specific I want to say. How can I do it? You know, how can I get their attention? How can I make it fun? How can I make it fun for me? And music is a tool of conjuring. It was always that. I feel like using music as entertainment is something that came later in human history, but it was always a way to affect mentally, emotionally, even the very cells in your body. You know, you can cure with certain vibrations which are created by instruments. It's the instrument you might just pick up and jam to now, you know, but it's still, even though it's for entertainment, it's still healing or hurting depending on the vibration, as we talked about earlier. So yeah, I'm just honored that I'm an artist and a creator, and that I have music at my disposal to use as a tool. And you absolutely do have to be responsible with it.
Yeah, and that's the part that I love that you mentioned about the responsibility of sexual health and sexual liberation. And, you know, I was thinking, well, who's talking about that right now? You know, no one is talking about the responsibility of sex. You know, and that's an important conversation to have. Because we love it, and we, you know, or it's taboo, or whatever the case may be. So you break in all those boundaries. And that reminds me of Salt and Pepper. Salt and Pepper, that's my sisters. Like, I really grew up on Salt and Pepper. That's how I found my voice. Like, we used to pretend to be Salt and Pepper. And then we started making up our own rhymes, acting like Salt and Pepper. You know, I grew up when they were out, like, literally. And TLC, you know, TLC, like Left Eye, they wore condoms on them. They were just, this was what they did. And they talked about creeping, and they talked about all these different things.
They talked about, I require plenty conversation with my sex.
Yes,
and
red light special.
Falling in love, and yeah.
All kinds of things. And I think that's a niche, and it's important. And we can't put a black woman in a box. Can I say that again? Like, we cannot put a black woman in a box. If you have your way of thinking, like all of my songs are about teaching. I teach in all of them. You know, and somebody might say, dang, can't you do something fun? Or can't you do something then it's not for you.
Right.
And if your songs are about sexual liberation and somebody say, well, why she got it? It's not for you. Hello. But it is for someone, and someone will learn from it. You know, this is what I know about the power of the black woman. She is the original queen, you know, the original woman, and we are all here because of her. And so when we tap into that, then we, you know, and when you said self-acceptance and acknowledgement of our power, what we know what Spirit says to do. You know, we hear Spirit loud and clear. We know what Spirit says to do. Each one of us has a message to give and to heal. Oh, I think it's so great, so wonderful. So what about the boundaries, though, Queen? I mean, I know that you're what they call millennial, and I don't even want to put that label on you. Yeah. I really don't. I mean, I don't know why. I just don't like it. But it doesn't take into account your wisdom.
Right. I mean, to be fair, that considering myself a millennial is one of those things that I'm like, look, they say it's from this year to this year, and I was born that year, so I'm a millennial. Like, I've come out of letting it define me, and if people define me because, oh, she's a millennial, then, you know, create expectations of me. But I mean,
that's not
I don't know if that's on them.
Because that's not you. You know? But as far as the boundaries, and we are already decided there aren't any real boundaries.
But there are
But about the age thing. Like when you're washed up, but it's okay for black men to do it only if they did it when they were younger and they popped when they were younger. It's the only way that they can still be. But I think about like my brothers, like Truth Universal, or like, you know, these brothers that's been doing it for a long time, kind of retiring, and I'm like, please don't retire, because what about what I want to hear? Truth, I want to hear you spit. Like, I want to hear. I don't want that to retire. You know, what do you think about that?
I think so many things about that, to be honest. The first thing that I think of is their content changes, and it's kind of like, you know, it goes away from what people want to hear. Then they grow up and they start rapping about their family. Nobody want to hear that. You know? I absolutely do. And what I realize is by listening to my favorite rappers when they get older, I realize that a lot of the content in their music, they're talking about out against the industry, and how, like, they see what happened, like, oh snap, I got older, so now there's no room for me anymore. And so it a little bit disappoints me, which I need to not be so judgmental, but it a little bit disappoints me because I feel like they succumb to the societal stuff of making them unpopularized because of their age, and thus, you know, subsequently the content of their music as well. And like someone like Talib Kweli, like the style of his music changed, and even I remember in one song, the song was about negative feedback about his music and how, oh, it's corny and you need to change up your topics. And it's kind of like, you know, I understand, because like that's something that's inside of him. The response to that idea is inside of him, so of course it's going to come out in his music. But I'm like, okay, still keep rapping about the other stuff though, like what it meant to you, like what life meant to you, and what all the things your experiences meant to you in the past, because it does make us miss out, you know, when they retire, because they're like, well, nobody wants to hear it anymore. And I'm like, no, you guys spoiled by the industry. You have to realize the music business is a portion of music's existence and life.
Right.
If you want to be in the music business, like, oh, I got so disappointed when Cardi B admitted to not writing her raps, and I was like, oh, I can't listen to this anymore. And then I was like, wait, she's in the music business.
Right.
Guess what? We got to put out an album. You might not have 10 songs in you right now, but I need you to push them out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna write 3/4 of the song. And you write the hook, and we're gonna put your face on it. And now Cardi B has another album. I had to understand the music business has different rules to follow, and I think what happens to our favorite rappers, they get sucked into that life of the music business, and when they're not popular in that environment anymore, then they get discouraged instead of realizing, like, you was gonna rap regardless. Rapping is not something you wake up and, I need a new job, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like,
some of these young people think that is an easy way to do that. But
and then because of the content that they're putting out and people's response to it, they can do it.
Yeah.
Crazy enough. I mean, hey, that's their art form. Let me not judge, but I understand my relationship to art and to creation and to hip hop, and it's really something I cannot do nothing about. Whether I'm gonna tell people about it or not, I'm gonna be rapping, I'm gonna be writing. So yeah.
I'm gonna be old and gray, I think.
Right.
With a little cane, maybe. I don't know.
Tapping your cane.
And it'll be just for me, you know. That's what I do. I produce this music, and I love the tracks, and I like to do it, and I like taking myself, you know, I like to hear what I've recorded for me, you know, and then share it with whoever likes it. So tell me, Phoenix Ali, tell me about your work. Do you have an album coming out? Tell me about what, you know, your work is, your concentration, but also tell me about what you're going to be performing on Saturday night.
Okay, yes, so I am in the process of putting together an album.
Awesome.
I've been really meditating on this, but I'm in the process of putting together an album before I moved here. I was working with a producer in Houston. We had been working together for several years. He was kind of the main person that was like, hey, look, sis, kind of like the conversation you all just had. This is not about entertainment. This is about soul work, right?
Yes.
So forget about the age limitations. Forget about, this is what you need in order to be yourself, right? So it's not about who's going to hear the album. It's about releasing the art, releasing the work. And so, but he made his unfortunate demise, his transition. And so, and really it ended up being a beautiful thing for me, because prior to he made his transition, he messaged me on Facebook and was like, yo, sis, I had a dream about you.
Oh my goodness.
You was on stage, you was performing, you was doing your thing. I mean, it was so real. I was like, word? What? He was like, yes, when I come home from Denver, we finishing your project. But unfortunately, he never made it back from Denver.
Wow.
He was killed in a car accident.
Oh my goodness.
And so from that moment, like, this energy was on me, like, what? I have to do this. Like, I have to leap. I have to make this happen. And so I'm here in New Orleans now, and I'm just kind of getting my foot in. But the objective is to finish the album. We're about 2.5 songs in, and so yeah, working on that project. We're gonna make it happen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's where I am with that. But my music, I'm an avid reader. I'm an avid, just for my own well-being, just studying spirituality, health, and wellness. And so the crux of my work and the messages that I try to put into my music is based on that. Also femininity.
Come
as an
on.
entrepreneur, you know, I say I've been an entrepreneur, I've been a solopreneur, I've been a mompreneur.
Yes.
All of those things where you try to revolve your artistry and just what your offerings are to the world around these different facets. And I think for me at this particular juncture of my life, I'll dub myself, if I have to, a fempreneur. Right? Because oftentimes as women, when we go into these different environments, that's one of the things that we have to put down. Like, in order to work in corporate America, I have to embody this energy of take me serious. You know, and a lot of that we don't feel like that's equitable to femininity. So for me as an artist right now, the messages in my music, like one of the lines of the songs I'm performing tomorrow is called Fiat. And there's a line that says, trade my divinity for fiat. Nah, my femininity for fiat. Because a lot of times we feel like we have to do that as women in order to get ahead in the world or to be successful in a patriarchal society. We begin to adapt and take on some masculine energies. And the belief and the knowledge that femininity is powerful, it's magnetic, it's abundant.
It's healing. It's what's missing.
Yeah, and to be able to maneuver and to move in that vein is powerful, and we can absolutely attract everything that we desire.
Yes.
By standing firm in femininity. So those are some of the things that's in my music, and I'm just really excited. I feel truly blessed to just kind of get to this place where, you know,
Awesome.
it's opening up for me, and I'm excited.
What's the name of your project?
So the tentative name of the project is The Art of Submission, because really the work of this music has been me submitting to, like you said, the authenticity of this is who I am. And my hope is to be able to document the process as well, with a lot of conversation and dialogue from the holistic health standpoint of how I got to this place.
Yes.
And this just the journey. So hopefully, you know, those who encounter my work or my music along the journey can kind of watch and learn, if possible, if they can learn something from, you know, just getting to this place and daring to just, you know, live my art.
I think so. How can people get in touch with you? Now, they'll see you on Saturday when they come. Y'all coming. I know you're coming. But how can the listeners that are listening, because we do have some avid listeners, and they may want to get in touch with you. How can they do that?
So we're on social media. My company, Herbal Vibe, that's URB, HOLVIBE, Urban Holistic Vibration. We're on Instagram at Herbal Vibe, and I'm also on Instagram at I Am Phoenix Solid.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. It's so wonderful and refreshing to talk to a woman who knows her purpose, who knows why she's here, who knows that she's a healer, who knows she's a divine creatrix. And so thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the stage on Saturday on the mic. It's going to be beautiful. Thank you. So, sister, what's coming up with you? This is Black Pearl. I'm shifting. What is your projects? What are you working on? And tell us about what you're going to be offering on the stage on Saturday.
All right. Well, I actually am still deciding what pieces to pick. Remember our last conversation at rehearsal? I'm like, I want to do more pieces. And so I know myself. I tend to get my power in like the last second of things. So I was like, accept that, you know. So, but definitely, no matter what songs I pick, I know the goal of the tracks that I choose to share with everybody on Saturday is going to be a full view of Pearl. A full view as far as my quote-unquote depression, because that's been a big part of my life, coming to terms with it, recognizing it, talking with you about it, growing past it, using tools until it's something that's not, something that controls my life anymore. And so part of me is like, well, if that's, you know, if you're not on that depressed vibe anymore, then don't share that. But I'm like, but it's still a part of me.
Oh, it's important.
I think it's super important because people need to hear that. And that's something that, like, okay, if I write a piece and I'm like, okay, I don't identify with this piece anymore, then I would tend to choose to not share it because, and that's still something I kind of go back and forth. Like, why still speak these words if it's a vibration that I'm not on anymore, you know? So I kind of go back and forth with that, and a lot of the times it does have to do with what I think people could benefit from hearing. I feel like I can benefit still from sharing those parts of myself, because it's like you can look at me and I can give you the update, or the next piece will tell you, oh wow, she surpassed that low place. I still feel like there's so much power in calling it out.
Yes.
You know, calling that out and talking about it. Like, yeah, we had our little problem. I'm not afraid of you anymore, you know, and so I'm not ashamed to talk about my low points. And of course, very excited about sharing my high points.
Yes.
Literally climbing out of those places at some points, you know, sharing my pieces on just all the things that go on in my brain, because
Because your thoughts matter.
Absolutely.
The
As an
experiences
artist,
matter.
that's what I want to share with people: my beliefs, my frustrations, my affirmations, things that I used to get me out of bed, celebration of those days that I was able to look sadness in the eye and prevail, and days that I woke up in there with sadness, you know,
Yeah.
and love and family and all of that stuff. I feel like that's what art is all about. It's sharing yourself, and like the sister said, it's not about who's going to hear it. It's about it's about getting it out of you. Then
Yes.
we all have pieces of art that will never be shared. Maybe we've even forgotten it. Maybe we lost that notebook. There's, you know, things, but what was important is that it came out of us. And sharing it, well, that's just, what do they say, lanyap? It was just extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So aren't you working on a project right now?
I am working on a project. I'm so excited. So I hit up DJ Socrae as for like secondary. So you told me to hit up, talk to Ivy, and Ivy was like, Ivy met me that day. We did not know each other, and she was like, I think you need to talk to Socrae. And there's just something about it that I trusted it so much, and I ran and caught him as he was walking out the door. And so he and I have met up, and we've talked about the tracks. And so in a similar way, my project, which I'm probably just going to call it the Black Pearl LP, you know.
Yes. Love it.
Say it again.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's going to speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then, yeah, it's going to be the same thing, a cornucopia of the facets of me. Beautiful. As much as I can condense them down to 5 songs.
Yeah. Shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah.
So multifaceted we are.
Absolutely.
We do not put us in a box. We don't belong there. You know, we don't put ourselves in a box either, because we have that ability to break free. So, guess who just walked into the building?
Yes.
What's up, my sister?
Hello, family. How y'all doing?
We are doing wonderful.
Yes.
We have High Heel Doula, who is here. She will also be sharing on Saturday for the series of Serious Sisters. And like we said, Serious is spelled S-I-R-I-U-S. And look it up. Look up Sirius B. It's a very interesting read about what Sirius B holds. And the idea is that she is not only serious, but she is also and we've been talking about how it's how we're using it as a tool, but also how it's healed us and how it heals. So tell us a little bit about High Heel Doula and what hip hop means to you.
Woo. That's hip hop is. Lupe has a song called "Hip Hop Saved My Life." That's my favorite song by Lupe.
I need to listen.
That is the like hip hop is the thing that opened my mind up to things being bigger outside, things being better outside of my reality. And he gave me that hope outside of, you know, the monotony of living in New Orleans and being a, you know, a product of a single mother, and, you know, all of the things that I see as the opportunities in my life that have helped me to get to where I'm at. So yeah, hip hop saved my life. It's definitely a healing. involved in hip hop, whether I'm performing or whether I'm just in a room with other hip hop artists, like it's always a healing vibe and energy. So
yeah. And when I say tapped into something, that's what it feels like to me when I hear you on the mic. You know, when I hear it, it's just like spirit. It's like boom, just coming out for
most of my performances, like what y'all know me, I'm like very, quiet, reserved.
Yes, you
but when
are.
I get on stage, I'm like a whole nother person.
You're a microphone fiend. You don't turn into a microphone fiend. I don't see it happen right in front of my eyes. But that's what it is. It's like very powerful of a thing.
Thank you.
To see. So we've been talking about hip hop as a teaching tool. What is that for you? Like, are you intentionally teaching through your rhymes? What is the tap in look like?
Yeah, so I base a lot of intent behind what I say. So the only song that I ever wrote in one day was Rebel.
Okay.
All of my other songs, I intentionally take a while to write them because I want every word to be I see everything that I say on the track is my immortality or my legacy. So whatever I say, I have to ensure that it's something that I want my children to listen to, and they be like, oh yeah, my mama was talking that stuff,
Leaving a legacy, beautiful.
Yeah. So that's how I see when I do a track, and I don't curse. I am.
Yes.
I'm a artist person now. Like I'm just doing everything. So right now I'm working on. Well, I'm finishing the last song for the mixtape called "Get Us Free," coming out on June 19th. Juneteenth, Freedom Day. I have to say all of that because it's all intentional.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll be doing that on June 19th, and then I'll be releasing my first album on my birthday, September 4th.
Beautiful.
Called The State of the Creator.
Yeah, that's going to be a birth out of this world for all of us to witness. It's beautiful. And you're actually from New Orleans.
Yes.
That's its own thing.
Yeah.
That's its own thing. Like black women in hip hop, black women in hip hop from the South, black women in hip hop from New Orleans. What that takes us all the way there because there's a grime in it that is intentional or not, but it's the part that's from that dirty South, the part that survived Katrina.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have a song about that.
Yes.
Are you going to do that one?
Yes.
You are?
On Saturday,
oh,
yes.
Good. We need to hear it. We need to hear
I'll
it.
be doing that one on Saturday.
Yeah. I think those pieces, for us as a community to listen to. People want to push Katrina 14 years back. They just want to say, let's let it go. But these things are still affecting us. They're still impacting us.
Yes, there's still present day realities for a lot of people. That we were actually talking about our Katrina story today.
Really?
Me and my mom, yeah. And there was parts that like the adults and the children see different perceptions of what happened. So hearing my mom's perception of everything that happened, it was kind of like, dang, I didn't even know that was going on. I was just a little child. So that would have added more meat to the song, if you would have told me earlier. But, it's all good.
It's all good. The song is written. It's out there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's very healing in that way, and that people don't really talk about it anymore. It's almost like a taboo subject that we don't bring up anymore. Unless it's anniversary time and everybody will talk about it. But the impact of it is still present. Every day I'm like, dang, I lost that in Katrina. Every day I'm like, I have no pictures of me when I was a baby. I have very little pictures of me. I have no pictures of my babies when they were babies, So it's very, very impactful.
And then also seeing the change of the landscape of New Orleans.
Oh, come on.
That's
New
always
Orleans
a
ain't been the
reminder
same,
at
man.
all.
Oh,
at
my
all.
God.
I live in the lower Ninth Ward, and it's different. very different than from before Katrina to now.
So thank you. And what is the name of that song again?
Here We Come.
Here We Come.
Katrina Survivors. Well, that's not the whole name, but the name of it is Here We Come.
Yeah, beautiful.
But it's like Katrina Survivors. Here we come. Like we're healing from, what was done. So
emerging, healed and powerful again. And so is that a part of your mixtape?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
coming out June 19th.
June 19th.
We can't wait. Can you talk about some influences? Like, what are your influences as far as hip hop is concerned?
Influences. My female influence is Lauryn Hill.
Yes,
because
that you can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I get that all the time. I had a show and somebody was like, "You like the New Orleans Lauryn Hill?" And I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that, but I'm also Delise and High Heel Dude.
That's right.
Like, because I feel like a lot of times people can, put that label on you and not necessarily. Yeah. Like I'm gonna do a little trap song, like it's still gonna be there, but it's gonna be a little dumbed down,
But we missed that Lauryn Hill vibe though for the 2000s. And what I said is that it reminds me because you're with the MOB, right? You're with the
most official
Black Empire. And so it reminds me of Lauryn Hill when she was with the Fugees. That was a different Lauryn Hill than from when Lauryn Hill brought out her solo album. It was a different vibration, and that's what I feel from it. And oh my goodness, we need it. It is very, very needed. And so Lauryn Hill, who else?
As far as, there's a sister named Cyrock.
Oh yes, we love her. Oh yes, we love her. She brings it mighty and strong. Yes. And then she does these amazing videos as well.
That's what I'm trying to get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's coming. I mean, Cyrock she been here a long time. Years and years and years and years. Because I remember back before I was even rapping publicly, she was doing her thing. So this is years of work. Decade at least, a decade and a half of work that she's been doing. And so now that you've begun this thing, it's only getting better. It's only going to get better because she's amazing. Yeah. And what about the brothers?
So, brothers, my favorite rapper is Kanye West.
Okay.
I know some people, don't bang with Kanye West, but
he's super duper talented, though. You cannot deny that.
He's a genius, period.
The way he put, the producing, all of that.
Yeah,
Now I don't know what's going on with him and Donald Trump. I don't know what's happening.
Exactly. See, so I had a track on the mixtape that's coming out where I was going to really talk to Kanye.
Talk to him.
Cause it's like you grew up in the era of the Black Panthers. That's how you were raised, and for you to decide or acquiesce to the culture that is prominent now. That's very interesting. So I decided not to put it on the mixtape, but I may just release it on his birthday.
Okay, just for everybody else to hear.
Yeah. So Kanye, Lupe Fiasco, Nas.
Nas is my favorite. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think about it all the time. And not for the reasons why I think people think it should be. It's because of the vulnerability that he was able to push through the hard, for a while in the 90s and the early 2000s, and you had to be this Don and all these things, and he did that also. It was hard for him not to. But if you dig into all of his albums, you're gonna find a gem that's totally about pain and totally about purpose and vulnerability and sadness and all these things. That's what he's tapped into spirit, and he's using hip hop as healing at that point. And so it's all the obscure knives that I really love. Yeah. So, do you have any pieces like that? Do you have any really vulnerable pieces that you bring?
Not yet.
Okay.
And I told my friends that I feel like this mixtape is me coming out of my cocoon. So all of the rebellious what's going on in the world type songs are on the mixtape, but me being vulnerable and me telling my story, and I think this is a part of me talking to True Love Movement and getting counseling, because a lot of things that I go through I can't necessarily immediately talk about them or immediately put them in a song.
Yeah.
Because it hurts too much to have to listen to exactly what I went through.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So the Katrina song, that's the second time I ever wrote about Katrina, like ever in my life. You know, because that's a very interesting, that's a subject that's hard to listen to. Even when even when I perform it, it's still like I still get tears from performing it, like thinking about the images and the things that actually happened. So actually doing a song that's painful and vulnerable, like I have to get to that space where I'm comfortable enough to say it to, you know, basically say it to where I feel comfortable in my truth.
Yeah, and that's a growing thing.
Yeah,
it's a growing process. And I love speaking to my sisters because we still got Amani Black Pearl. She is still here. And so y'all are coming from a different genre, a different era, really, of hip hop and being younger. So there is time. There's a lot of time to grow, and there's a lot of time to be vulnerable, and a lot of time to think about the traumas and how that impacts our work. But I think the truth of hip hop is that when you hit those spaces, it's that way that you can get it out that'll heal you. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Yes. So you are also a mama, a black mama.
I am.
With little, oh my goodness, they cool. We love him so much. He's just a dog baby.
He loves it, y'all too.
Well, how are you able to do all these things? Every time I talk to you, I like text you and you're like, oh, Mom, I'm in the studio. I'm like, oh my goodness, do you ever stop? But you can't because you're on a mission, and I get that. Yeah. But how do you balance those things?
I mean, seeing him smile, like that's my reward for doing all the things that I do. And balancing them is just like having structure and organizing so that I accomplish what I need to accomplish. So I've got like a planner, and you know I was going to start writing things down, but it's all in my head, like everything that I want to accomplish, everything that I want to do. So I kind of like
will do.
Yeah, yes, will do. Thank you. You know, correcting my language.
Get it right, Mama. It's happening. Yes. It's happening.
Yes. So that's how I balance it all. Just like understanding that although I have all of these things that I need to do, I still got to push through, you know? Yeah. Like I can't stay stuck or stagnant in past moments, because every moment is a present moment. So if I continue to go back to, oh, this happened, that happened, I'll never be able to enjoy the present. So I try to keep that, I do keep that mindset.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important about the Serious Sisters event, is that all of us are different. We said that before, like all of us are coming different with a different, although it's all a wealth of talent, it's a different, what is the word? What is the word I'm looking for? Different.
Like a different angle, a
vibration.
Different vibe, different.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. We got some mamas, we got some that aren't quite mamas yet. We have some who got buku children. You know what I'm saying? They're grown. They're as grown as anybody else on the stage. You know, we got a whole different view, and that's what it says. It says that black women are real. Black women are true. We are talented, and you can't put us in a box. We won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I love the idea of you emerging from a cocoon. You know, you emerging into this dynamic MC. You know, and this is what I know, is that hip hop has been thirsting for it since hip hop began. Just a woman's voice, there's nothing like it. It's like a bell is ringing, you know, and you're like, oh, look how, you know. That's what I get when I witness queens on the mic. I get just overwhelmed. I get like, whoa, I can't take my eyes off her. She really mesmerizes, and that is why hip hop needs her so. Yes. That's why hip hop needs you so. That's why hip hop needs you so. And I don't need you to ever abandon it. I don't care what happens. Don't abandon hip hop, because it's ours, and we birthed it. Even though black men were the ones who were in the parks in Brooklyn and in the parks in Queens doing these things, their mama birthed that. You know, their mama gave birth to them and said, go ahead, you writing rhymes? Go ahead, man. Go ahead, dog. You know, and giving them and then we, on the other hand, are offering the balance, the balance hip hop so sorely and desperately needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you decide what kind of songs you'll put out there? Do they come like through inspiration, or do you say, I'm gonna write a song about such and such?
They come.
Yeah.
I don't know where they come from.
Well, they come from spirit.
Yeah, right. Well, I know where they come from there, but
Yeah.
you know
They come from Sirius, from
Yeah.
the Sirius, from the cosmos and in your womb,
Yes.
and that's where they come from.
Yes, that's where they come from.
That's where they come from.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they're really amazing. I really like how different that they all are. See that full circle? Oh my goodness! Like you can. I was listening to the video that I took at rehearsal. I'm like, full circle. I'm walking around with it. Full circle. I just love it, you know. And I'm thinking about Stay Cool too. He like,
Right.
he
Wait,
clapping.
he's like he's the person that lets me know that my songs are good. So like if I rap to him and he like, yeah, like he be clapping, I be like, all right, cool, that's the right one. So Here We Come, that's his favorite song on the mixtape.
Okay.
That's his favorite song. Every
He's
time
your
it
number
comes
one
on, he be like,
fan.
yeah, and you know. Yeah, whenever I have a song, that's who I present it to first.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Black Pearl, let me talk to you, my sister queen. How do you, where do your inspiration come from? Is it just a tap in that you do, or do you have a decision what you want to write about? How does it come out?
Everywhere. Both those things, and probably some other stuff too. Definitely the thing where it just jumps out and you're like, I thought I was on Instagram, but now I'm writing a song. Okay, cool. I thought I was sitting in the sun. No, I'm actually writing a song. Okay. Yeah, I've had songs where I'm like, I literally have no recollection of writing this, but it's in my notebook and it's in my handwriting. Oh, cool.
Spirit,
and
spirit's
I'm
a
about to memorize it and perform it, right? Yeah, but then I also have songs where sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna write specifically on this topic. That's less so the method I take.
Yeah.
It usually is something that like walking down the street singing, and it might just be a 15-second video for Instagram, or I might go home and be like, okay, hold on, what did I say? Okay, and finish it. Yeah, so half and half I'll say, but usually it's just be jumping out of you, you know.
Definitely. I think the ones that I try to write, like I can't. They're all trash. Like I'm gonna write about this. And look, trash. I never pull anything out of my notebook, and I'm just like, it has to. So let me tell y'all something. This is something y'all might not know, but I write songs every day. Every day I'll tap in and something will come. And my voice recorder on my phone is full of them. So like I'm telling my children and stuff, like say if I can't get to 100,000 songs that I've written, they're for them. For them as musicians. All of my children are musicians. Because growing up I was a single mother. We were poor AF, okay? And we just were going through it. I was going through it. I was at my lowest. And so they found music. They found music to heal them even when I was broken and I was hurting. And then I found it too, and we found it together. So all of my children are musicians in some way. And I would like to, honor them. They can have all those songs. Like I might not even put out hundreds of songs, but every day I tap into a message that comes to me. What young people are calling downloads now, and it's really uploads from spirit. It's really like spirit coming up into here. I always say spirit because I think of spirit as womb, in womb, and then coming up here into mind. And it's like, oh, yeah, let me bring this, let me teach. Yeah, and I'm all about teaching through my own experience, teaching through the wisdom that I've learned through experience, even experience the hard times, as well as the vulnerability. So Saturday, y'all ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I know you are. I'm
excited.
And so I need my people to come through. We're going to be at Embassy Studios, and that was just through my relationship with them. I was able to get that courtyard vibe, and we have a beautiful stage. And DJ Slumflower will play between 5 and 6, and then the show start promptly at 6 o'clock. Guess who is our MC? I don't know, y'all might not know him. Charlie B.
What?
Charlie B is our MC for the night.
Oh, that's
And you know, he's a classic hip hop poetry, spoken word MC for the night, master of ceremonies for the night. And I just, you know, I wanted a man to come and celebrate Black women.
Yes.
I wanted a man. And then we have the Free Souls will be on the stage accompanying DJ Slumflower. And our lineup is so beautiful of the night. So we have myself, which is Fire Like Ayana or Mama Fire. And I bring uniqueness, you know, very, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it. It's not in a box. There's no way that you can, you know, describe
Grown
what I
woman
bring.
hip-hop.
There you go, Brother Shaq. Grown woman hip hop, and that'll be the first song that I do, Grown Woman hip hop, because it was my way of saying, man, you know, hip. How does hip hop go away when you grow up? It doesn't go away. It's ours for people who, you know, I was born in the '70s, y'all. That's wild. That's wild, yeah. Like, how, you know, I really, you know, platforms and afros, and I was born at that time. And that's when hip hop started, like, really taking hold. And so it's my music. Like, it's the music of my generation. So why would I ever stop? Why would I ever stop listening? I mean, I listen to J. Cole. I listen to Kendrick Lamar. I listen to, you know, I just turn on my thing and just be listening because I love it. I love hip hop. I love the power of it. And then we'll have, of course, Black Pearl. How would you describe your genre or your way of rapping?
Let's see. Wow. I would have to call it. I don't know.
Just on the spot.
Black
Pearl. Yeah.
Just all the things. Like, I mean, there's certainly a word for it. It's the same word for me. I don't know.
Black Pearl. Yeah. If you think of black pearls, they're rare.
Yeah.
Right? And they're precious. And they're beautiful to see,
super
beautiful
unique.
to behold.
I think uniqueness is we're all unique, of course, you know, but uniqueness has kind of always been like my air, you know, like you never know what you're going to expect, you know, and once people started getting comfortable with not knowing what to expect from me, I think that kind of became my thing.
You don't surprise them, baby, all the time. And what about you, Mama?
I would say my genre is high healing.
High healing. I love it. Oh, yeah. High healing. I love it.
Oh, I have mine now.
What is it? Wow.
Conscious trap.
Okay.
It's not so always on the trappy side, but like I said, I use hip hop to exude that roughness inside of me.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, if you're not listening, you're like, oh my God, did she shoot somebody in verse 2? Like, no, that verse was about falling in love. I just said it my way. Yeah.
Conscious trap. I love it. And then we had Phoenix Ali, and you know she's teaching. She's coming with the feminine, divine feminine. That's where she comes from. And then I think of J Locks. OMG, I love her. Okay. So what if we had to describe J Locks? What would we say?
She got that like.
Man, she got serious skills. Let's
does.
Just say.
She does.
Rapping, as far as flow is concerned and vibration is concerned, who does she remind me of?
She got that traditional sound to her.
Definitely.
I would definitely peg her a feminine Queen Latifah. Like Queen Latifah was feminine, but not girly. J-Lox bring that girliness to the femininity of Queen Latifah.
She definitely does. I don't know Queen Latifah though, because I grew up with Queen Latifah.
You know, I don't know how that was.
Yeah. What I know, maybe MC Light.
Okay.
That's different. Queen Latifah and MC Light are two different people. MC Light came with all the rhymes and all the flows. Queen Latifah was more like,
I see what you're saying.
MC Light was like, chicka, like really, really getting it hard. So I would say yes. MC Light, definitely. That makes me feel good inside.
And she just had a tape release as well called Too Easy.
Yeah.
And you can definitely.
This is too easy for her.
Right. She had the first one was easy. The second one is too
easy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and you can definitely see her like dynamic nature as a hip hop artist. She has a song that's in all Spanish.
Spanish? Does she speak Spanish?
No. What? She's also like a comedian. She's very, very funny.
So she gonna bring bring that too. Yes. I really adore young women in hip hop just because the world is your oyster. Do what you do and grow. Just do what you do and grow. You got it all, right? You got it right at your fingertips. it's open for you just to slide on through, you know. And then we have Malika, Queen of the Bay. Have you ever heard her perform?
Yes. And it was Liberation Lounge.
Yeah, she's got her own style, and she commands the mic. She commands the mic. So listen, y'all get ready for series of Serious Sisters happening on Saturday. You must be in the building, and you must bring some friends, because it's going to be a night to remember. And there'll be vendors, right, Black Girl? Yeah, so we'll have food.
So everybody carries some kind of food and, you know, some other stuff. No, I'm just kidding. No. Crafters
Who's got
as
the food?
well.
Who's doing that?
Who do we have? We have Veggie Nola. Y'all know Veggie Nola under the bridge?
Yes, we do.
That's walking distance from my house, and that's all I'm gonna say.
And who else?
And who's, I don't know who my
I
tell. Yeah, they're not gonna be there on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're getting a non-vegan food vendor for Saturday night, and so right now that's my friend Chelsea.
Okay. We can't forget about Divine Cocktails.
Right.
Yes.
She'll be bringing the spirits.
Yes.
And others. And you're gonna be having your.
I'll have my jewelry.
Your jewelry.
Yeah, my
Come
last
with your
couple
money, sisters.
T-shirts.
Yeah, come with your money, because you're definitely gonna buy something. I promise you.
Yeah.
So
My jewelry is like my writing. You know, it draws people in. Like I always say, I'm like the fact that I can eat off of making jewelry, it's not something that people need. You don't think that that's as a necessity.
Yeah.
But when people walk up to my table and they can't stop staring at a piece, or they don't even pay me no mind. Half the time they're just like, how do I make this mine? I'm like, we can work that out. That's why I'm out here. Yeah. So
healing in your hip hop and healing in your jewelry. It's a beautiful thing. So we're winding down. So I just want to tell everybody again about Womanifest 10 weekend. It is the weekend. We are starting off on Friday, May 24th. That is this Friday at Tombar Life Center. Tombar Life Center is located at 1683 North Claiborne. And it starts at 6 o'clock. We're having a little bit of a mix. It's called Welcome to Womanifest. And you know, True Love Movement, we always bring purposeful and intentional things. And it's never like, oh, we just want to do something. No, everything is purposeful and intentional. So we're having a mixer. Then we're going to watch a short film by Dominique McClellan called Silence is Compliance. Then we're going to have a community healing conversation. Brother Shay, you ready for that community healing conversation?
Well, I'm always ready, Mama.
Yeah, I know you're ready. It's called Hands Off Black Women and Girls, and that is super important for us to have this conversation, not only with black women, but with black men as well, and with the black children over there, but with Arabella's Playhouse. So they need to be in the space and feel that vibration of healing. We're doing solutionary work.
That's right, Mama.
Yeah. And then tell us a little bit about the Resolving Rape Culture, just real quick, and why people should register like right now.
Well, there's only a couple of spots left, Mama Fire, and that's the good part of it. But it isn't about having a large number of folks, because this is serious work.
Yes, it is.
And you know, not everyone, and it's even been expressed, you know, that a lot of their people, you know, black men particularly and black women that, you know, really say they care and they love and adore black women, but they're not willing to give up their sanity to deal with that. And they've said that, you know, and I respect where people are, because that's the truth of where they are. So the workshop isn't for them. You know,
it's not for everybody.
It's not for them. This is serious work. This is not hashtags and this is not rape culture in the ways or manner in which that we've been co-opted into. So this is something completely different. And you know, this is the culmination of 6 years worth of 6+ years of work, my own work,
personal work,
personal
as well
work,
as
and
the
book.
Yeah.
Right, which has taken so long because so much of the work is on me, working on me with it, and I got to put it down sometimes. So it's heavy. And for this workshop, you have to stay the whole time. This isn't a drop-in at it starts off at 9 and we'll end promptly at 3. And there's going to be breakfast and lunch as part of it. But this is a stay the whole time thing. So if you're not able to stay the whole time, just catch it next time around, because it's that serious. It is that serious, and we need. And someone else sent an email today, and I wanted to address that, asking about children. This one isn't designed for anyone. I wouldn't recommend anyone under 16 for this. For this workshop, there's going to be a version that can accommodate younger people, but this is essentially for folks that are, we say 16 and up, black folks that are 16 and up. And it isn't just for black men, although black men will be doing some significant lifting. Anyone in there will be doing lifting, but their sisters are also welcome because they too have been socialized around rape culture and rape culture as defined by True Love Movement. So yeah, it's going to happen on Saturday at 9 a.m. and it will end at 3 p.m. The information is on the True Love Movement page as well as the Womanifest event page. So if you need some more details, check it out there. Also check it out on truelovemovement.com.
Yeah. Then simultaneously, starting at 11 o'clock, we're going to have the Birth Story Project, the Womanifest edition, and this is through Sister Midwife Productions, as well as High Heel Productions. It's celebrating birth stories of Black mama, and in those birth stories, there's healing in those spaces. I'll be the special guest speaker. I'm excited about that. I'm going to be talking about Black mama and self-care and why self-care is important, and making self-care something that isn't something grand to do, but it's something that you do consistently all day long, every single day. So we're going to talk about that, and then we are going to move over to Embassy Studios for the series of Serious Sisters, hip hop. The hip hop edition is that doors open at 5, 6 to 9 is happening. Then on Sunday, it's Womanifest proper, what we call a Womanifestival. It's the festival part of it that usually happens one day per week. And it usually happens one day during Womanifest, but now we spread it all out. And so this is the Womanifest proper.
Right.
Sunday at Taylor Park from 12 to 6. We'll have vendors, we'll have performers, we'll have food, we'll have stuff for the children, beautiful things to do. We have free community workshops, which is also a telltale part of Womanifest.
I was just thinking about I Am My Sister will be there.
I Am My Sister is doing a community play date over there at Womanifest.
Right.
We're collaborating with all kind of sisters on this thing to make it work. We have Rachel Guidry, who is doing a workshop on small businesses. We have, of course, Sister Midwife Nicole Deggins is doing a magical womb workshop. We have Nikki doing a sacred sexual safe sex workshop.
That's right.
And then we have our brother Moon doing a survival workshop. Y'all, we are not playing.
That's right.
So y'all come on out to Womanifest weekend.
That's right. Number 10.
Number 10. Y'all be there.
So I'm Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fire.
For True Love Movement Tuesdays, family. Wholeness. All right, Facebook Live.
Now, but you can't find it on the you better be back. I'm still rocking your Tuesday.